Good morning, everyone. Shay's Creations again. It is. Let's see what time it is. It is 10:25 a.m. and I'm finally out of that bed. But I have to try to stay out of the bed because I have to leave my house in a short while. So a couple hours from now, but I still have to go outside. So, but I wanted to show you something. I don't know much about fashion and all that other stuff, but I was watching and listening because I was in my drifting off stage, and then this when I woke up, this young girl was showing all of these perfumes she purchased from like a TikTok shop or something like that. She pulled out from under the bed all over the place, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine having all that. But that's not the issue. There's no judgment here, and I hope that wasn't anyway, because that's not where I'm trying to go. Anyway, maybe about 2 years ago, I was at a local shop here in my town, and this lady had this table. This like a regular table that you put up on the cookout table outside. That little first table for some of us when we first move in our own apartments, and the table had all these perfumes on it, and this was one of the perfumes. So I don't know this. I don't know nothing about this. I can promise you that. So the bottle was $2. So because I was going somewhere and I was trying to get my mind right for that hustle and grind, I picked up whatever my budget was able to afford that day. So did I say $2? Okay, I said $2. That was the price that I put on it to allow myself to be where people can barter and all that other stuff to get me down to my gravy. That's how I move with the nickels and dimes. But this morning, I woke up maybe around 3 o'clock. I think I was in the shower about 4 a.m. Now, this morning when I got into the shower, before I got into the shower, I said I didn't feel like getting in the shower. And that mind state almost took me over. But I said, I'm not going to throw away God's blessing. So I stripped down, jumped in the shower, did my whatever. And then when I came out of the shower, I put on, of course, my uniform, which is this, and then I put on some pajamas, which is the bottoms. And then I realized that with intention, I do what I need to do for myself to show up for myself. So I am really proud of myself for that. It is about the baby steps in my life, the baby steps. So now I went over to my little shelf over there and I picked up my perfume that I wear. Now, I don't wear this every day because, like I said, I'm not into fashion and all the other stuff. But a few days out the week, I need scent. So I put this on. Now, I don't know if, no, it's not. Clearly not. I was about to say, I don't know if they're the same scent because I don't know what this smells like, but I know what this smells like. But this happens to be at the moment my favorite scent, and I'm very happy that I paid $2 for it. But I have another perfume somewhere, and it might be up there. It might be up here. And oh, it is. This is it right here. I love this one right here, and this one I purchased at the Dollar Tree, and it's one of my favorites. But right here, now I had no intention on showing you these, but I've got this one from the Dollar Tree, and this one is whatever version of Poison. This one I got from the Dollar Tree, and it's the version of Eternity. I don't know what that smells like either, so I'm gonna put that back. And this one is Red Door, which I do know what this one smells like, which is my favorite scent in the entire world. So that's why I don't use it that often. And this one is the version of Glow by Jennifer Lopez, and this one is the version of Red Door by Elizabeth Arden. So now that I've read that to you, let me go back. This one is the version by Calvin Klein, and this one is the version by Christian Dior. Dang, boys and girls, did I really have all of that up on my dresser? Now, this lady gifted me Nest. I love, love, love Nest, but I have in my closet. Now I have more. I have more, but I'm not going to do that. I just happened to think of it. So oh, you was able to see me lift up and everything. Okay, so I am sitting here now saying to myself, oh my goodness. So I'm absolutely smelling so good, and I realized that I'm at my peak's glory today because I love fresh scent. But I have this air freshener on my table, and I ran out of the scent, and I realized that I needed the scent. But then I said, okay, I did not want to spend what I don't have, and I actually mean I don't have, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't have in a minute. But I said I don't want to have to go out to find that scent to replace, because I noticed that it says you get up to 45 days of freshness, and you actually don't. I barely make it 30 days, with that freshness, and then I have to go get another one. And when I do go get another one, I end up picking up, I might see an extra dish detergent, or I might see an extra cleaning spray, and I absolutely don't need any of those things. So I'm not looking for a no spend, because if I see detergent and I like it and I want to buy it, I'm going to buy it. I owe myself kindness, and cleaning supplies for me is kindness, because I like to clean. But I said I'm not going to do it. So today I put this on, and that's going to be my scent. But I noticed that I'm able to smell myself more moving around in the home than I was before, because I was overfilled with that air freshener. And then every now and then it smells like cigarettes in here, because whatever goes on around other units in my building. So I have to turn around and use some of them other sprays. But right now, I'm smelling so nice. So someone enlighten me of what this is, or if you know, because I may see it again and may want to pick up a few. But I have enough on hand that I won't need any fragrance for a number of years. I just hope they smell good enough. I like sweet and fruity, so I do notice that about myself. But I also like whatever that scent is that has cinnamon in it, like in the Christmas time. It only comes out in Christmas, and that's what I need in my living room right now. But I'm definitely not going to, I have no means to get it, no way. But I'm going to tell you something that I realized this morning that I didn't realize, and it came true to me this morning. Well, my Social Security check came, and I used it to pay bills, all bills. It was nothing else. I don't have anything in there for sneakers or anything like that. But when I was doing my payments, I was trying to use my calculator, and I was trying to use my pen and paper. But because I paid a bill that was due March, I think March 27th or March 24th, I actually saved $6.40 in interest. But when I knew I saved the $6.40 in interest, my mind wasn't focused on where that $6.40 was going to be. So if at the time, of course, I would have had to use logic and say, okay, it has to be my account, because I did put $2 here extra, maybe $3 here extra on different ones, so I could pay towards the future a little bit more. So then this morning when I woke up, went to check my account, I had $6.40. Boom! So there goes the $6.40 that I budgeted, that I figured I should have. Now that $6.40 was my interest that I saved from paying that extra bill off from March early. So it went into my tiny little savings that I have now, that I'm building my emergency fund. So I was extremely happy for that. And then I got my bracelets and stuff like that. I got all my supplies that are a need for me, because it is my mood support. And I got that, and I maxed out the cash back that day. I think it was 3 days this month, 10%, 15%, and then there was 120%. Although I did not want to purchase anything at the time, I knew I could not avoid that time, because I was going to get the cash back, and then on top of that, I was going to get my gravy, which allows me to do what I want to do. And I lead on kindness. So if I say I want to send a bracelet, I'm going to send a bracelet. No one is going to stop me from doing what I want to do. But at the same token, if I'm not going to earn, I need to protect myself and the integrity of what I'm trying to do for my mood support by cashing in on my cash back. So I ended up getting what I needed, what I wanted, at the price I was willing to pay, and I got that hustling grind for that cash back. Now I'm looking at, let me check real quick while I have y'all on the line. So now let me tell you, there are a lot of cash backs but cash back determines where you shop. So don't ask me anything about cash back and all other stuff. I am not a math quiz, a magician. I don't know any of that stuff. I'm only working on what works for me. So I have Capital One cash back. I have that yellow thing that looked like a little circle, the little bag of money. I have that. I think that's Piggy or something. I have that, and they pop up, different times and stuff like that. And most of the time, I just absolutely avoid all of that anyway. The one I will not avoid is is when it benefits me and my kindness ministry. And the reason why I say my kindness ministry is because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So I did that. Now my cash back on, I know on the one with the little piggy. Now I have $21 that is confirmed that will be in my February cash back check. And then I have $18.80 in cash back that is pending. But that goes up to December 31st. So nothing for January is in there. So my 15%, my 10%, and my 20% sales were not in there at all. So I'm hoping that now, if I just say I'm only going to get the 21.82 cash back, that's perfectly fine with me. That $21.82 is going straight to my emergency fund. There will be no adding it to my next shopping, none of that. What I am going to do with that is slide it into my emergency fund. I have, like I said, 1880 pending. I hope some of that 1880 goes into the 2182, but if it doesn't, I'm fine, because the pending only guarantees me another check that's going to go into my emergency fund. One of the reasons why I'm extremely happy, even though these are small amounts, is that if I was thinking the way I used to think, that $21.82 would have probably been, in a coffee shop or at a Dollar Tree buying crafting supplies or something like that. So I'm thankful that I am no longer doing that, because the Dollar Tree, and I do have, I wonder if I could share that since I don't use it. I could probably share it with you. I do have access to an account that will allow me to purchase whatever you see in the Dollar Tree. It's about 79 cents an item. If you have access to a pallet being shipped to your location, you can definitely shop there, but you will need your tax ID, and your shipping and handling will be $2,000. I actually got permission from where I live to have a pallet delivered, but I realized that what I would want in that pallet, at least 3 items, would have to be what I personally use, so I can get my grind and then do my grind. But then I realized that I am moving more into what my body is asking for, and my body's asking for rest. And I have to allow myself to do what my body's asking me to do. So this morning I was doing a video. I started getting cross-eyed because I was about to faint. So I had to end up in my bed. And that's why I mentioned that it was after 10 and I was finally up out of that bed. But I have to answer the call to take care of myself. So before the day is over, myself is going to be in that craft room, because that's meeting me where I meet myself, and that's where I spend the most of my happy time, in that craft room. But I am so happy, because I realized this morning while I was laying down, and especially yesterday when I was laying down a lot, and I realized that my mind was very, very happy. My mind was at peace. All of that scrambling around is absolutely slowly ticking away. But I also realized one of the things that I have to change if I want to see a better future for myself. And sometimes change is easy, sometimes change is not. And what I have to grasp onto and hold with both hands tight is learning that no is a full sentence and I don't have anything to explain. I owe no one any explanation when I say no. If I can get that to become a normal part of my life, then I am going to be in a great way. Even if my life only consists of me laying down in that bed and just say eating some buttered crackers, because your girl got her butter right here. I have my butter right here, and I have my crackers, and that will be my snack while I sit here, because it is what it is. Now, I have seen so much of myself over the last, I say, a couple of months, and I had to go back and I had to ask myself, what is the one constant that has happened? And in order to get that constant to change, the behavior has to change. But for me, the behavior is only going to be able to change if I can get my head to change. Because up here, this right here is a fight, boys and girls. So I realize, and I have to realize it, and I have to stay with it, because there's a person that I really care about, and he really cares about me, but he is making it point blank, period, clear what he wants from me. And what he wants from me is an absolute no. It's an absolute no. So now I have to wait until the call comes in so we can have our little conversation, and I'm not going to listen to anything. I'm going to make it point blank respectful, and I'm going to say the bottom line is no. I am not willing to participate in anything that my spirit does not deem okay for me to handle emotionally. And after that, I kid you not, the conversation is over. And I don't want to hear anything else about, 'cause the person truly cares for me. But if you really care for me and you know what I don't want, then you have to accept me as I am. I'm going to accept anyone that I hear about as they are. If you are not of sound mind the way I need you to be, I'm going to love you the best way love can be, and that means parting the sea. Parting the sea. So hopefully now, when I say what I say, I would like to add something in there that doesn't have anything to do with any of it. This person is willing to financially help me in ways I need right now. But I always say I'm for sale, but I'm only for sale in that craft room, and I'm only for sale on YouTube, which means when you watch me, you're buying me, and that's the only sale I want. Anything else that I have to think about, where I have to say later on down the line, I may feel stuck because I may not want to leave because you're paying my bills, or I may not want to leave because I'm expecting this amount of money every month for my house allowance for me just to stay in the house and clean up. I'm not partaking in any of that. That comes with a price tag that is way more valuable to me being on empty than it is being on full. So I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Now, one of my other issues I have is February is going to be cold. It's going to be cold. I absolutely want to go to the store, but will I be able to manage my bags going in that trunk and then coming out of that cold garage, coming up here with my hands the way they are? Possibly no. So I do have a $20 bill reserved for my delivery if I have to do Instacart. Because if I have to do Instacart, I'm going to get, maybe 4 boxes of my yellow packets of sugar, uh, probably a whole case of corn. So I'm not going to have a person, grab up all of that and come here without a tip. I'm not going to be that person. Now, I do believe in tipping for service. I'm not going to go to a Dunkin' Donuts and feel I'm obligated to tip for someone who is already clicking the register. Although if I see a tip cup and I have change, I'm going to drop it in there. I used to live on tips, so I do know what it means to get them. So I'm not going to be that person, and I'm not a follower. I'm not going to follow everybody else who says they're not going to do this. No, you do what's good for you, and I do what's good for me, because when I go to bed at night, I need my head to be clear. So I'm trying, but I really, really want to go to, Aldi, but I'm worried about coming out of the store having to pack up. So What I may do if I get 5 minutes of remembering, I may pack up my shopping bags and put them in the front seat so that when I go into the store, I can bag up my things on the inside of the store. But I don't really like staying longer in any public building more than I have to, which means I'm going in, coming out, getting the hell out of that parking lot. And that's because there's a lot of foolishness going on. There's a lot of unstable people that we have to worry about. I don't want to be outside in the community where I'm already having issues stepping out and then have to wonder about the neighborhood weirdo that might have followed me to the store or might know that I'm going to this store or going to that store. And because of a situation that I'm personally dealing with, I am going to look into going to different places that I normally go to. I won't be recording anymore when I'm driving to the best of my ability. You may have noticed I already stopped that. But sometimes you have to be aware of what you're putting out on social media because especially you not up here where you have a bodyguard, and I do have a bodyguard. I have my brass knuckles and I'm not afraid to use them at all. I will bust up, trust and know, but I am not going to bust up knowing I'm going to wear these. So I'm afraid of these, but I'm not going to be in a parking lot. Somebody I'm not. Yeah. So I got to be mindful of what's coming if I do have to. But it is what it is. I've had a person or two ask me, do you have any more? And I'm right to the sink, wash my handprint off that. Nothing to do with that. But it is what it is. When they arrested me that day in here, I said, can you take that off my keychain, please? Please don't take me in there with that. And he was nice. He took it off the keychain. But sometimes we have to evaluate our own lives. And I am very pleased at what I'm going through right now because there is no stress in my life. Absolutely none. I have absolutely nothing stressing me out. If I can't perform, like say, for instance, and this is how God works in my life. I actually was in here by myself. I think my brother was here. And other than that, one person was here maybe about a week ago, but other than that, no one was in here. So I was walking through, and I saw a little plastic, and I picked it up, and I saw another little string, I picked it up. But did I run the vacuum cleaner? Nope. This morning, did I run the vacuum cleaner? Yep, I ran the vacuum cleaner. I pulled it back out, took it in the sink, washed the holder, I did all of that. But I was able to go and do what I chose to do with the vacuum cleaner because I really didn't have traffic in here. And then yesterday I was walking and I stepped on one of these clear bags and I didn't realize it, but because the TV was on in here, I was rolling the videos, and then I got into the kitchen and I'm like, and then I realized my foot was on this, and then it made me really happy, boys and girls. I said, well, I'm the only one in here, so who has to pick it up? Me. So I picked it up and then I put it in the trash can. And then another time I had fallen asleep, and then I got up and I realized that I had 2 dishes in the sink. And then I left out of the kitchen and I came in here. I said, oh, hell no, we're not playing that game. And I said, hell no, we're not playing that game. I said, get back in that kitchen and wash some dishes. Who's in here to wash it besides you? So I went in the kitchen and I'm laughing at myself because I just told myself to get back in that kitchen. But when I went in the kitchen and I washed the dishes, I realized that washing the dishes for me is a time of stillness. So I like the smell of the dish detergent. There's a spray on my counter that has vinegar in it with another little something, and I spray every now and then. So I get to smell these things, and they give me a burst of scent in each thing I do. I have this bathroom right here I actually do not use in any capacity. It is way too cold in there. And I did have maintenance come up, and there's nothing they could do in there. The wall behind the medicine cabinet is the wall that is sharing the vent in that main hallway, and that's why the bathroom is cold. But if you go out in that main hallway, open at my front door, it is the temperature in that hallway that it is outside. So there's no coming from that. But in my kitchen is cold. So the vent on the wall, I put a Ziploc bag on it. and I actually duct taped it. So I got a little bit of warmth coming in, but it just reminds me of what's going out when I put my air conditioner on in the summertime. In the summertime. So all of these things that would disturb my peace is not going to disturb my peace because they're going to help me when it comes down to the summertime. Because in the summertime, I am going to completely have something in front of that door that removes access to air going in and out. Because why? I'm sitting here now, right now, and my underarms feel like a little warm, but my legs are frozen. Where is the draft coming from? Under that bathroom door, under the bathroom door. Now, in here during the daytime, I lift up my curtains to allow the space heater to fill up around here to get my legs. But from my knee down, I'm absolutely frozen because of that bathroom door. But in the summertime, when you girl throw her air conditioner on, that's not gonna be a problem for me, honey, because I'm a seal that whole thing with some clear roll of something that you put on your windows. I have it right there, and I'm gonna board off that whole bathroom. If I don't board off the whole bathroom, I'm gonna board off the whole medicine cabinet because I had to open the medicine cabinet. Each of the shelves, there's a line, and the air is coming through there so cold that the medicine cabinet is freezing cold. I'm shutting it all down when it comes down to put my air conditioner on. Maybe now, when I put the air on, it will stay, and I will have a lower, light bill running that massive air conditioner in there. But it is what it is. I have my rent paper, and it's somewhere around here. And I put $15 extra on my rent this month. So my rent is due tomorrow, and I have the $15 cushioned for my rent. So when I pay my rent, I'm putting $15 extra normal like I'm supposed to, and then that 15 is going to turn to 30. So I'm going to keep doing that for as long as I can. I'm not doing the math in my mind. If you feel like doing it, you go right ahead, honey. I'm going to do that until it says that I have that 1 month free rent. And then when I have that 1 month free rent, and I did it before, that's how I know the joy of getting it. I'm going to take that month's rent, boom, and do something that's going to increase my my abundance, put it that way. It will not be that craft room. Absolutely not. So I don't want you to think I'm going to buy craft supplies. No, I'm not. It's going to be something that's going to gain me something if I don't use it for a couple of years. So that's where I'm trying to go now. But I'm extremely happy about that $6.40 because I needed to get, but I'm going to use needed very carefully because I didn't actually need. I actually wanted. I'm working on my emergency fund, but I'm trying to build my emergency fund on blessings, not actually out of my income. That way, it will get me to see the progress in how I'm budgeting myself. And when I say budgeting myself, I mean the whole circle because I am chipping off and I'm paying extra and I'm saving here and I'm spending, which is fueling my existence. So it's a circle. That's why I actually like what I'm actually doing for myself right now. And one of the reasons why I'm extra blessed is because I was struggling a few days ago when I was ready to put a small sum into something called an EFT or something like that. And I went on the site and I'm asking, but that's like a foreign language. I have no idea what the hell was going on. So today I said, okay, today I might be interested because I got a call and it's a hustle and grind coming in somebody's future. So I don't want to take that and then just throw it out the door. I want it to be something that can get me somewhere, say 5 or 6 years down the line. So that's where I'm working in my mind right now. But that just got me to something else that has nothing to do with that, so I could just leave that alone. This morning someone made a post, and it was her mother passed away, and her mother was married for 30 years, and her mother had $8,000 in her account. And looking at the mail that came in, the husband had let's say, um, 300,000, and the daughter was feeling a certain type of way because the man never paid any bills in the house, and that was the first thing I saw this morning when I saw that post. And sometimes we don't realize what we're sharing. We could be oversharing, but it could be a blessing for someone in disguise that you don't realize. And I realized something about myself. That 8,000 she had in the bank and that 300K he had in his, that would be me. That would be me because I am a provider and I'm a carer. So that means if I had a husband and I'm loving up this man, I would make sure his everything is good. But you know what he would be doing is making sure his everything was good. And that was one of the blessings for me this morning. The very first thing I saw was that post, and I said that just confirms why even if I get married, my husband and I won't reside in the same home because I am a nurturer, I'm a carer, I'm gonna put the band-aid on, I'm gonna do it all. And someone else who has the taking spirit and the taking mentality is gonna say, go ahead, bitch, you go ahead, I'm gonna take this 50 and cushion it, take that 60 and cushion it. And that's what people do. To kind people, that's how you take advantage. But you really can't say it's taking advantage if you know it and you keep doing it. So for me, I can't fall down and keep saying someone knocked me down if I'm helping them knock me down. So I had to get to a point of awareness within myself. So now I'm thinking back to a few people that I do personally know that are married and live separately, live their own lives, and they go each other's house a couple of days. And I really like it because everybody gets space. But there's one person, I was driving one day in his car, and she rang the phone. Did you pay your rent yet? He was like, no, I didn't get a chance to. And she said, well, I'm gonna send it to you. And so she was paying his and her mortgage, but they couldn't live together because she was a slob and he was OCD. So he couldn't live there. But there was times he would go to her house and he would call me damn near in tears in the yard. I just cleaned up in here last Sunday, and I can't deal with stuff like that. But then there was another person a couple of days ago posted that a child demolished something in the home. I'm talking like a wall. I'm talking physical damage to the property, all because he was playing a video game and he couldn't win. Now, the person did post that there was something that they did where the person was able to win and then turn around when he wasn't able to win. Bow, and you see this massive accident. When I saw the word accident, I'm like, are we playing Jimmy Jackass now? Because that's not an accident. That hole was not an accident. But I have some younger people that call me every now and then, and they're like, yeah. And I have to tell them immediately, don't bring a game system in your home. You don't want to borrow problems. So we all have choices, we have options, but in order for you to have some form of control, and when I tell you the damage that was going in my ears from hearing these females crying over this man's back behavior with his game system. And one of them, I kid you not, it was a hard, but she picked the whole system up and dropped it in the bathtub, plugged the bathtub up and filled the bathtub and closed the shower curtain. That's all she did, and she went about her business. When that man came in there and seen that thing, you talking about if somebody tipped their scale. But you know what? We have to hold some type of control in what we do. And I'm telling you all, especially if you are living on borrowed money, savings, grace, EBT, don't matter. It does not matter. If this fucking man comes with a machine or one of them, I don't know, don't coexist in a home with a man, boy, little kid, none of that with a game system. And if you think you can say to yourself, oh, well, we're going to play as a family and we're going to do this and we're going to do this, yeah. Once that system gets up in here, you have no fight left in there. But I kid you not, one of the reasons why one of these females was going off is because of the amount of non-existence contribution to anything in the home that this man was doing. And I can't lie, I actually had conversations with the person. I'm like, the amount of time that you're on that. But this was one of them was a provider, and his only downtime, he was out the house more than 8 hours a day. So there's a dynamic we have to look at. There's a scale. We can't just say this person is home all day just sitting down doing nothing. He is definitely a provider. But that situation with that game system, I think it took that female down the way it did because she purchased the system, and she didn't realize at that time the fight that she put on herself. But the other female, when I told her, I said, just get the whole system out. Now, she has about 3 sons, and all of them are mentally delayed, which means, and I'm mentally ill. So please don't say if I'm using the wrong term, kindly correct me, and I will be happy to use the new term, especially if I can remember. But when I say delayed, they can't hold a job in any capacity, but they know every freaking thing that goes on with these electronics. And then one of them's not leaving the table without the remote control. So, she was like, I can't. And then, I said, the whole thing has to go. So this recent one, which was maybe 2 days ago, was like, what should I do? And everybody chimed in and said, get the system out the house, just get it out. And then the state of the bedroom, one person put up the state of the bedroom. I can't get the person to stop doing this, playing the game in the room. Get everything out, put only needs in the room, everything else goes. Just get the garbage can. That's it. Sometimes we have to take back what little bit of control that we have. And one of my issues where I have to take control, because I'm not blameless in any of this, is my cell phone. Oh, and speaking of cell phone, somebody just messaged me, but my cell phone. Oh, yep, sure enough. Mm-mm. What? Dollars plus added to what? Well, I better get into this phone right quick. Wow, I like to see that. I don't know what's going on in there, but I'm going to show you something. And people are like having let me see where it says contacts. If I can, no, I can't see it. Let's see where it says all. Let's see where I can't see it. Um, anyway, mostly everybody on my cell phone is blocked. Most everybody's on my cell phone blocked. Why? Because I can't be having the phone ringing in my ears. Yesterday, my phone rang one time. One time. I was thinking, oh, that the phone didn't ring. So guess what? Me blowing that blasted whistle, they're understanding. That phone is very seldom ringing. It rang one time after 5 o'clock at night, and it was a spammer. Could you believe it? But maybe last month I was trying to enjoy my craft room, and the spam. Now I had gotten to the point where I just stopped answering the calls, but then they just kept coming and coming and coming. But then they get tricky. They have some kind of way to mimic a number that you personally know already. Now, you may not know the number by heart, but you can say, oh, I think this is so and so. And that's exactly how they got me to answer. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to play in the sandbox with these mother scoundrels. I just get the phone, walk right over there to my whistle, and I just put whistle in my hand and I answer and let them do their thing. And then I click the one to get to the human. And I say, what did you say your name is again? And they say, oh, and I blow, 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 blow. Make me a big old inhale and blow. But guess what? Now they're taking me off their list. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to answer. If I'm in here and I have to go out there to answer, I may not answer. I'm not going to lie. If I don't feel like getting up, I'm just not getting up. But if I'm in the living room or say the kitchen and I go get it and it's a spammer, I'm gonna walk right over to my whistle. Now I did make a post and someone was like, you shouldn't do that because that's somebody's job. Well, they better find another one because harassing me, changing your number, and you the same person that called 3, 4 times this week. No, baby, you really want this whistle because that's exactly what you're gonna get is this whistle. But I kid you not, I am just so freaking blessed right now that I'm aware of some of these things. And kindness begins with you. You have to show yourself some kindness, boys and girls. That's why I say if I go in a store and I see this $2 fragrance and I want it, I'm going to buy it. You want to know why? Because I'm cushioning my fall in other areas of my life. I'm not going to restrict myself down to say I'm not going to spend in 2026 knowing that craft room cannot survive without a shipment. Without a shipment. Now, speaking of shipment, I couldn't find some shirts that I could have sworn I ordered. And I didn't know the size and all the other stuff. And I'm like, I needed Beverly to wait on the package for me to ship out because I wanted to just send her one of the shirts. But then I was looking over the design yesterday and I realized that I may not like the shirt because I might have put too much on the shirt when I was really going for a basic. Basic means a lot to me. So today I'm going to actually do a design and I'm going to see where my mind goes. But I want less. I want less. So when I do the design, I'm going to take the design and put it on ChatGPT and ask, how can you fit this in the basic? Because I want basic as the keyword because that's my whole agenda right now is basic. And I want that to be used and I'm going to do it. So I'm going to use Canva, of course, and then I'm going to take the picture and put it on ChatGPT and I'm going to say I want to use the word, the keyword basic. That's it. So how can you change this to basic and give me what I need because I want a basic t-shirt. That's exactly what I need. But I'm going to say thank you so much for watching my channel. I don't know what to say to you guys other than the fact that I absolutely love you all. And when I say all, I mean absolutely every last one of you. I want to work on some meals that I want to cook. So I'm hoping that I don't record anymore for a few days. I want to get my bowls together. I want to pick up on a little bit of spices that I may want to try. I am desperate for some cabbage. I have sauerkraut. I want sausage and sauerkraut, but I can't even bother because I can't open a jar. So I'm really and truly going to work hard on not doing anything in the kitchen, and if I do, I don't want to do it on camera, unless of course it's this type of video. But I'm just noticing something in my back in my screen, so I'm going to mention it in a minute. And while I'm laughing, y'all gonna laugh, boys and girls. See, this is where I love that I can show y'all who I am. Anyway, I was laying in my bed a few days ago, and I heard a noise in the radiator. It was 3:19 a.m. and your girl jumped the hell out the bed. I said, we're not playing this game. So now I get this from Home Depot. Amazon has it too, but I get mine from Home Depot for $10. So I jumped up at 3:19 a.m. and I was in every one of the corners. I mean, in the closet, in the pantry. I was everywhere in the dark. Didn't turn on no light at me. I was like, and I'm just, so now this morning when I was laying here, staying in God's light, just doing what I have to do, I heard a noise, but it was right after I got up and sat at this table. So my anxiety just said, pow, and I said, boom, and my hand just said, oh, and that's how I hurt my hand. But I realized it was birds outside my window, and I don't even care anymore what anyone says about me. I just hope I don't have to tell them anything for coming for me, but I don't even care at this point. I have been afraid of birds all my life, and I'm on the 12th floor. So if I'm hearing a bird out my window, that bird may be outside, but my mind is telling me that it's inside. So whatever my mind did to me, it had already done it. So I was in here, frantic. My heart had already gone bonkers, and I picked the phone up and called my mother, and then she had to call me right back because of funeral situation. So then, and I'm in dire straits, and I'm like, I know it's outside. I looked out the window and I see it outside. They're flying around playing Happy Family. I said, but it feels like it's inside. And she's like, well, you just have to tell yourself that it's outside, and you just keep remembering that. I'm like, but my head is not. And then I had to remember, I had to stop the excuses, stop, stop the excuses. And then I'm like, okay, so now, not even 5 minutes after hanging up the phone, my mother, I, of course, went in my radiator, so it's smelling like peppermint in here right now. And I went into the radiators just because my anxiety wouldn't let me rest. So I sprayed in the radiators just to make sure it was nothing in here. But there's a woman on the 11th floor. Just about every day, she's spraying that peppermint all over her house. And my neighbor called me one day, are you down here spraying that peppermint spray? But I'm like, no. Oh, but let me tell you, this man's house is immaculate. You hear me? When I say immaculate, you wouldn't believe this man bubble up the pot the way he does, and the man can cook. But he had an issue one time with a rodent in his house, so I came on the computer and bought him some peppermint and whatever and put it in his house. Now you go to his house every few days, whatever the case may be, and you're going to smell peppermint everywhere. So I'm like, oh, so I see you still have peppermint. No, I still have that bottle you bought me. And I'm like, and this is what I say about myself, because I could have easily said, well, you can get this, you can. I didn't do that. I came upstairs. I had an extra little bit of blessings, and I bought it. It arrived in my house 2 days later, and I gave him the bottle. So it reminds me of kindness. And that's why I say I am never going to change who I am. I am just going to learn not to let people abuse my kindness. And that is it. But this right here, now I will be making my own version of this when I can find the bottles wholesale, which means I won't be going to Dollar Tree to buy 10 bottles. That's not wholesale. I need to find the bottles wholesale, and then I will be making my own bottle of peppermint spray so that I could be able to leave them in the hallway, with a label on them, so a few neighbors can take them and start spraying in their homes, because these little things matter. Now, I've had this bottle for a few months now, and it is actually it's right here. I can see through the label, which means in my mind, in order for me to rest and anxiety not take over, I need another bottle of this before it goes down, because I have to have another bottle before this bottle runs out. That's where my mind takes me. So I need to get another bottle. Now, I do have, I believe, a $10 gift card coming for Amazon. When it's coming, I don't know, but it should have been here already. I wanted that $10. No, I think that's 15. It doesn't matter. I wanted that gift card to pay for the delivery that I'm getting from Amazon. Um, so I wanted that for that, but now I realize that I absolutely need that. So I have to move and shake to figure out how I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But all of my boxes will be getting ticked up in here because I have to go around here. I also go into the garbage room. It's a little chute in my hallway. I go in there and I spray, peppermint around the area and stuff. And I have another bottle with this spray that helps with roaches. I go outside in my hallway and I spray and, stuff like that. And then I have another concoction with bed bug spray. So I spray around my front door. I spray around my sockets. And every few months I take the tape off the sockets that's not being used and re-tape back and stuff, in order to help bed bugs not travel inside your walls and stuff, which they do, and a lot of people don't realize that they do. You need to start cutting off access to some of these sockets, and even that wire that your cable come through from. If you don't have cable TV, you tape off that hole, But I'm gonna get some of the strong steel wool and start steel wooling. But I'm going to tell you something that helped me in when I lived in the projects. And the reason why I use the projects is because then you would know how their radiators are. Their radiators are the ones that come up like this and go down, and they're really hot, and that you could possibly buy that metal cover. Anyway, I moved into an apartment that had an abundance of those little mother scoundrels scrounging. So I went to Home Depot and I got some of the really thick construction tape, and I got the really thick steel wool, and I got a soda bottle. So I took the bottle, put it in a box, and I crushed up the bottle, and then I put the glass inside the hole all the way around the radiator. And then when I got that enough, I got a little broom from the Dollar Tree and I pushed it in. Then I took the steel wool very carefully and I pushed it around and around and around. And then I took this beautiful tape that only you can get at a real hardware store. You don't want tape from the Dollar Tree for something like this. And then I duct taped around the glass and the steel wool. I lived in that building about 4 years, and that only one mouse that I saw in my apartment that my cat Lion had to tackle down was the only one, because I duct tape and steel wool inside of there. Now in here, I had someone check my radiators. And Dougie Fresh Father, that's all I know. I forgot his name. He came up here and he lift up and did everything. So a few months ago, I had somebody check, and all my holes are still sealed. So just say one of those little visitors would get in. 9 times out of 10, it would get in through my front door, and then it would try to get out from one of my corners. But I am going to spray in this house. I don't care, as often as I can, because prevention is what? Better than cure. That's right. I don't want to be looking for a remedy for any of that stuff. So you have to do what you have to do. This spray is no different than the peppermint oil. If you want the peppermint oil, it needs to come from a health food store. If it doesn't, it is not the concentration of peppermint oil that you want. And if you get that bottle from the health food store, you put that bottle into you put that bottle in a spray bottle with a very small amount of Dawn dish detergent, and you spray it on your walls. When I spray my walls, you could come in here and you say, "Oh, something spilled and she didn't wipe it up." Yeah, you mind your business, honey, because that's not a spill. That's my little treatment. But I spray around the baseboards and behind the dressers, so you will see it look like somebody might have threw a little liquid. Nah, that's my peppermint oil, and I make sure every few days I do it because I want to keep my prevention methods on point. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, like, share, subscribe, bell. Everybody's welcome. Love you all. Bye-bye.